Is he here and ready yet?
Hey guys, this is John Robert here.
Good deal. Okay, well, let me go ahead and then step back, John. If you could please introduce yourself. I think you are. This is. I believe this is your first time in here. So if you could give everybody a little bit of some details about yourself and give them kind of an overview of the project, and we can go from there.
Sure. Yeah, I know my name doesn't match John Robert on other platforms, but I was on a couple of weeks ago talking about Twentix. Happy to kind of get that coin out to people. Today I want to talk a little bit about Yincest, my associate Kenna. So I try to post pretty much every day on Steemit, try to talk a lot about BitShares. I started to get a lot of thoughtful comments from people in Ghana and Nigeria, and started to open up a dialogue with them, kind of see how things are going on their front. Heard that they didn't really have a good way to go from Steem to their domestic fiat currencies, which is kind of holding people back from spending more time on the platforms, which I think that we would all support. So anyways, I got connected with Kenna and learned about his exchange, and it sounds like they're doing a great job. So my company, Dow Street, we wanted to support them and introduce them to the community here. So if Black Man is here, I'd love to give him the platform to say a couple more words. Kenna, are you?
Oh. Well, I think we may have had a mic issue. So the standard operation when this occurs is to just. Yeah, the standard operation for this would be to, if you can, go into a separate room, get the mic working, and we will move on to the next guest speaker. That'll give you about 15 minutes. No, that's fine. But I do like to provide this opportunity. It is a great opportunity to let everybody know. If you can make sure that your mic works, it will be a lot easier on yourself as we move forward. So just make sure that, no, it's no problem. Go ahead and go to a side room, and we'll get everything figured out, and you can come back in. No problems. Okay, now with that said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on temporarily to Walrus, who is going to be talking about the EasyDex updates that they have provided with some of these gateways and some of the cool things that are going on there. So what I'll do is I'll let Walrus step up, and he will take the guest spot for right now, and then whenever Yanessa is ready, they can come back as well. After EasyDex is finished. Walrus, are you able to step up and give some of the updates regarding the EasyDex and kind of giving everybody just an intro real quick for those of the listeners who are unfamiliar maybe or not or new to the EasyDex and BitShares ecosystem in general?
Sure.
and Walrus and Padalenko, of course.
But yeah, for those that don't know who we are, we've created a new UI for BitShares. We launched our beta phase about 6 weeks ago, I think. And when we launched, we have working fiat bridges for USD and euros, and a password recovery system for right now it's only for accounts created through us, but we're gonna be putting up something soon where you can use our password recovery feature with existing accounts too. We just haven't got that up yet. And we're happy to announce that we recently finished our Bitcoin bridge, our Bitcoin gateway. And there's a lot of cool features with that. The Bitcoin gateway, two of the big things about our Bitcoin gateway is that two of the biggest things about our Bitcoin gateway is, for one, we let you set your own miner fee for withdrawals. Well, it's a little more complicated than that because the Bitcoin software doesn't let you set an exact figure as a miner fee. You have to set the fee per byte, and since you aren't going to know how many bytes it is, because that depends on how many deposits were before you, how many inputs there's going to be, then we have to do it approximate. But even our minimum withdrawal fee of 3,000 satoshis should be more than enough to get your withdrawal there, and that's incredibly cheap. We don't charge any type of anything else on top of that for withdrawing. We just have our 0.2% market fee on that asset, and there's no deposit or withdrawal fees. And since we don't batch transactions, because unless we're processing at least probably hundreds of transactions per hour or something, then there's no reason to batch it. And this means that your withdrawal shows up in the receiving wallet as a pending transaction right away. So you don't have to sit around and wait, hoping that it goes through and everything like that. You just like when I was testing it, I would click over and see it in my wallet instantly. So you just have it right there, and you can track it, see what's going on, all that good stuff. And we're almost done with the Steam and SBD gateway, so that'll be coming soon, and there won't be any since they have free transactions on Steam, so there's no withdrawal fee on that whatsoever, just the 0.2% market fee. And with those market fees, half the market fees collected get dropped onto our what is so great about the instant Bitcoin movement? Well, to answer that question, yeah, I know with dealing with centralized exchanges and other gateways on BitShares, I've hated it when you go to withdraw and then you have to, especially with Bitcoin, because you got these crazy long random strings as a Bitcoin address. I always copy paste it, but even still, till it shows up in your wallet, you're not sure if you did it right and all that stuff. And if you have to wait for the transaction to show up, it's just, yes, you might freak out thinking you lost it. Exactly. Fortunately,
that's something we did a lot, right?
Yeah, fortunately, I've never messed up a Bitcoin transaction. I have messed up other transactions, but not a Bitcoin, so it wasn't as bad with the other ones. Nothing too big, but it does happen quite a bit. Like I said, with our gateway, with your withdrawal, you know right away if it worked, if you did it right and everything like that, and it just shows up right away. And then you can actually track you can track it, see how many confirmations you've got, and all that good stuff.
Would you say that it's fair to say that this should help to keep people from having to open up trouble tickets and things like that, that have kind of become a bottleneck to a degree with some of the other gateways.
Yeah, like I said, because you'll know right away if it works, so there's no and getting heart attacks, waiting on the withdrawal, then having to come in to deal with support and all that stuff, which, cryptocurrency exchanges aren't known for their good customer support. Except for us, actually. We're actually known for our good customer support. But well, yeah. But this way you'll know what's going on with your transaction right away. And if it didn't work, then you'll know to ask us about it right away. And the sooner we get to it, the easier it is to deal with. So
just a note. I will appreciate because our fiat gate is lately very popular. A lot of people want to have their money, especially in crypto. So the deposits are getting more and more every day. So I will appreciate everybody who listens us at this moment and they want to or will use the fiat gate. Please make sure that your BitShares username is into the memo reference. We are stuck with deposits and we cannot proceed them because we have no idea who actually sent this deposit.
yeah, that is a problem that we've had recently. No, we're not based we're based out of Bulgaria. I'm currently in the U.S. and I'm from the U.S., but our company's based in Bulgaria, which made it a whole lot easier to be able to do fiat transactions for people.
Also, we are always into the Discord and Telegram channels. Feel free to contact us, to notify us if you are worried, if you want to deposit, withdraw a big amount, we can be there for you because it doesn't take a long time. We can be there and check every step of the process so you don't have to worry and stay there waiting and such things.
But I wanted to get back to this. Like I said, the only fees we have on our gateway tokens is the 0.2% market fee, and then half of those market fees we drop on our token holders. That's the EasyDex PB. PB stands for Portfolio Builder, and so those tokens we're doing our token campaign kind of EOS style on BitShares, where users send BitShares to our pool account, EasyDex-pool, and every day at I think it's 5:00 p.m. UTC. Then is when one day's pool stops and the next day starts. And we tally up how many BitShares we got that day and divide. Currently, it's 1,500 tokens a day. So we'll divide those tokens up among everyone who contributed BitShares that day based on how many BitShares they contributed. And that's the best way to get the tokens right now. So.
Is it fair to say that it trades on the BitShares DEX as well?
Yeah. We believe in the free market, so people, once they get their tokens, can trade it. So there's a pretty active market on the DEX.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that I really think is important for people to recognize is that they can trade it as soon as they get them on the market if they want to. Another cool thing I think is I like the Dutch auction, the EOS and AGS style auction, because it gives you guys a consistent way of giving people the opportunity to give you funding. But also, the cool thing about that style of funding is during the days when it might be considered extra risky because people don't really know you, it gives them the opportunity, those who are not so risk averse, who kind of are looking for high risk, high reward opportunities, the opportunity to get into something during a stage that might be considered risky for other people. And it gives them the ability, in my eyes, for you to show what you're doing and continue building things, leveraging what you are earning. And if you're not making any progress, I suspect that the market wouldn't, you'd see fewer people buying in. I think the model is really great, and I look forward to seeing how this all turns out. I know that you guys are starting to get a decent bit of funding from the community, of the BitShares community already. I've loved to see the support they've given you based on just the fact that you guys brought account recovery. That's something that I thought was really important that you guys brought on too. But to dig into it and just to finalize, to offer one final point before I say, of course, for anybody else to speak up. Let's face it, guys, this is a lot easier to do this style of campaign on BitShares than on Ethereum. And EOS has been doing this EOS did this on Ethereum. It cost them a lot more money, was far more difficult for the users. And now we have this model that has been here from the very beginning of BitShares that has been proven to be quite successful in both instances. And it's now being utilized again, only leveraging the BitShares DAC, as I believe it should have, even EOS, I believe should have done. I think it would have made it a lot easier on the community too. So those are my 2 cents on it. I do, just to make sure everybody knows, full disclosure, I do invest in and donate to the EasyDex pool pretty much daily because of the things that you guys have done. So thank you very much. If anybody who wants to step up or has anything they'd like to bring up, feel free. We got a couple minutes left.
I want to accounts, so this makes impossible to participate in the pool, right? So we give them time to feel comfortable with BitShares. Probably or this Monday or next Monday the pool will increase to 2,000 as it was planned.
Okay, sounds good. Does anybody else have any questions or comments they'd like to bring up to Walrus or Patty while you've got them here?
Only one note. At this moment, we know that we are new, so the liquidity in our markets is very low. I have to agree with this. You shouldn't be concerned about it because at this moment, all funds collected from the pool are spent to provide liquidity on the markets, especially the fiat gateway. Also now for Bitcoin, as far we can cover.
Cool. And if anybody wants to reach out to you guys and learn more about what you're doing, how would they go about doing that?
Best way to do it is on either Discord or Telegram. I'm dropping the links for those right now.
Also, you can find the whole information in many different ways to reach us in the social media. All the accounts are actually in our website. You can visit and check for any other option.
Well, personally, I will say thank you for everything that you guys are doing. I think that you guys have done a lot that, well, I know you guys have done a lot that we've been talking about needing done in BitShares for quite some time. So I look forward to seeing you guys move forward, and I'm glad to be able to have the opportunity to get in on this. Now, with that said, who here, between Blackman and Honorable JM, I know that I should probably know your other name, but I'm just going to call you Honorable. Do you guys have everything set up to talk, or?
Way of introduction, I met Steam It, just some good, thoughtful posts. I just want to, because he's kind of more on the ground and kind of pushing this project forward.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, John. Hi, everyone. My name is Kina, and I'm leading the YNCSA project in Ghana. That means Let's Exchange. And this project started when we realized that it was becoming very, very difficult for people that are on board on Steam to be able to cash out after they've worked very, very hard to earn some money on Steam, right? And people are so much into earning on Steam, primarily because it's easy to earn on Steam. Instead of buying or paying huge money to mine, you just have your phone and some small internet, and then you can plug and make money from Steam. But then when they made this money, being able to cash out this money was becoming difficult. And that's why we built YNCSA to allow them to easily cash out their Steam monies. And currently we've exchanged about 500 Steam so far since we launched. And then we've seen interesting use cases on our platform where people are using their Steam to be able to pay for electricity bills. And they are using their Steam to be able to buy food from restaurants. The reason why it becomes easy is because there's a digital money wallet in Africa right now, which is called mobile money. So there's mobile money everywhere in Ghana, in Nigeria, in South Africa, in Kenya. And there's about 312 million people that we are trying to get to with our platform right now. And so when someone has Steam, all they do is they send the Steam to YNCSA to our website. And then within 5 to 10 minutes, they get the money back. And then they are able to use this money, that's in local fiat. They're able to use this fiat to do whatever they need to do. So far, that's what we've been doing. And we've been very excited about it. Exchanges that other tokens we are looking at adding would be along the line if WorldShare launch. We are looking at adding WorldShare to YNCSA platform and also BTC to YNCSA. The reason why we be adding WorldShare is because WorldShare 2 presents a similar model like Steam, and that makes it easy for people to earn whilst blogging. So we are super pumped in promoting Steam and promoting YNCSA, and also making it very, very easy for people to be able to cash out YNCSA and cash out Steam to YNCSA. The next phase we are looking at is to launch a token on BitShare. Launching this token, we are seeing that it's going to bring huge lot of people within the African community to BitShare. People will want to get in on our tokens, and then they will be able to trade these tokens on BitShare, and then be able to use it within the YNCSA ecosystem. So all in all, that's what we are working towards. And then we were very excited to have John come on board to invest some money into what we are doing to help us push the engineering team further and do more aggressive things. And Fuzzy, and this is me. I'm the one that has been working on the side with you from time to time.
Oh, I'm very familiar with you, Black Man.
Yeah. Cool.
Kenna, I just want to give you a chance to comment. A lot of projects into crypto, they're very theoretical. They talk about what they're going to do in the future, but I understand from the comments that people are using YNCSA today. So it's a very real world project. Could you comment on any sort of activity or statistics or responses that you're getting as we live today?
Yeah, so just by doing a simple search on Steam about YNCSA, you see the amazing reviews people are giving out, right? And these are genuine reviews that we even have no idea about until people tag us in on Steam, right? And some of the things that people are doing with YNCSA right now is We've seen someone pay their electricity bills with Yansisa and with Steam through Yansisa. And we've seen someone buy food right there and then with Steam through Yansisa. We've seen someone pay hospital bills for their relatives with Steam through Yansisa. So we are seeing an amazing use cases. And so far, we've done over 500 Steam exchange so far on our platform. And we've just been like a month old when we launched. So we are not very old. We are just like a month old. We've exchanged over 500 Steam right now on Yansisa. So the future looks exciting, right? Now we charge a small exchange fee, about 3%. And what we are going to do with this exchange fee is to give it back to the community through a basic income project that we'll be working on down the line, where all the percentage of transaction fees that we charge, we give it back to the community, use it to promote Steam in Africa, and then help grow the ecosystem, because we strongly believe in the power of what Steam is doing and potentially what WorldShare will also be doing down the line.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Kenna. If anybody has any questions, happy to talk more.
I definitely noticed that he mentioned the mobile development. Could you talk a little bit about that, and if people are already kind of using their cell phones to accomplish this, or how they're doing the paying of these things?
Yeah, for sure. This is definitely kind of an early partnership, but people here may also be familiar with Armin and the folks at Trusty. They have a great Android mobile wallet that it sets you up with a local address on the BitShares network. So see a perfect synergy there for there's a lot of people in Ghana and Nigeria with phones. It's a mobile first area. So I understand that Kenna had a conversation with Armin recently. So he can comment on that, or maybe just allude to the bright future, I think.
Yeah, okay, so cool. So there are two main mobile way we view things, right? So one is what John was mentioning about using the mobile wallet with Trustee. So that is one opportunity we are exploring right now. And the other one is that Yansisa will be coming out of the box as a mobile application also. That makes it easy for people with either smartphone, either Android or iOS, to be able to use Yansisa. But currently it's mobile responsive. So we've seen about 90% of our traffic right now coming from mobile. So people are able to use this anyways. So what is powering Yansisa right now is a digital currency, right? It's digital tokens that are being issued by telcos. So telcos like MTN, Vodafone have their digital currencies that allow members that have their SIM to be able to take money from any telco kiosks that are around. And in Ghana alone, there are over 100,000 of them. Every corner that you turn, you see a kiosk there, right? And what we've just done is just create a bridge between Steam and then the telco tokens. And then when someone has a Steam, they just exchange it through us and they get mobile money, and then they're able to cash it out. So with the token line that we do on BitShare, which potentially might be interfaced with Trustee, would make it super easy for people to even do much more of this.
Yeah, from what I'm reading here, it says 4.9 billion people in the world use mobile phones in 2018. So just a general idea in terms of how many people are using mobile phones, and this is even people in third world countries. I think that we're starting to see mobile phones in a place where they're going to be able to replace banks to a large degree. Maybe not in every way, shape, or form, but I think a lot of ways. That coupled with ATMs, and you pretty much get rid of a lot of these things, right? So with that said, I think it's something that's important for everybody in BitShares to recognize whenever mobile phone development is being taken into account and making sure that it's available. Something definitely for us to be looking at and and tipping our hats to when it does become available. So I just wanted to make sure to kind of give just a quick little statistic on it and kind of describe how important it is to people here, at least from my estimations. Does anybody else have any questions or comments that they'd like to bring up about Yensensa? Okay, well, I do have a question here. Wow. Jotnik says, very well, Fuzzy, just here in Africa, I've got friends who haven't stepped in the bank for 6 months. That's kind of cool. So out of curiosity, Black Man, in Ghana, is cryptocurrency becoming, can you tell us kind of like the state of the scene of cryptocurrency there?
Yeah, so I think gradually, and specifically, there are two cryptocurrencies that are dominating the scene right now: Bitcoin and then Steam. So these are the two cryptocurrencies right now that you can see most people trying to engage in. People that get into Bitcoin are rather holding it for some time, and people that get into Steam are trying to and be able to spend money in their daily lives and potentially even store some of the Steam for future. So that is the two cryptocurrencies that are currently dominating in Ghana right now.
Does it seem like it's significantly helping people in terms of the amount that they earn? Is it, I don't know how cheap it is as far as, or how strong the dollar is, or how strong cryptocurrency is compared to the Ghana cryptocurrency. Could you tell us a little bit about?
Okay, so this is just about a month ago, someone that earns about 2 Steam a day can be able to can at least take a decent 2 to 3 square meters a day, right? So that was when Steam price was around $2.4, and can get a decent meal per day. So what I've noticed is that if people work hard on Steam, for example, and are able to maybe get like a $1 or $2 upvote, and they're able to do 3 posts per day, in every 7 days, they're able to cash out some amount of money that can take them, and one, it can get them to buy food to eat for the day. It can get them to buy credit to put on their phone, to browse data credit, for example, make calls. It can just give them a decent living in a day, as compared to they working their butt off for 8 hours for a whole day. So if you look at it, Steam is becoming very, very powerful within the youth in Ghana, for example, those that are being introduced to it, right? Instead of spending their time whiling away on Instagram or on Facebook, and they prefer to write a post on Steam and earn from Steam, which can take care of some of their basic daily needs. So yeah, so Steam is becoming very strong, and once Steam price starts going up, at least one post can even give someone like 3 square meals a day.
And 3 square meals a day for a lot of people in third world countries is a big deal. It's not something that you generally get. A lot of people even
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's good if you have a cell phone and you have the ability to type on it and produce something that people will upvote. You might be able to get enough to feed yourself something. Oddly, I have found in my experience in third world countries, cell phones are still, and a lot of people who are even homeless still have a cell phone. So a lot of people might think that that's counterintuitive, but in an age of information transmission where that's the value, I think that's one of those things that kind of just shows us, exemplifies, so to speak, just how important this technology is and where we're going with it. Now, with that said, we have a couple of minutes left. Is there anything that you'd like to finish off on? Any final points that you'd like to make, or anything specific?
No, I think Fuzzy's great point about the many billions of people who live most of their digital lives interface through a mobile. We just see a huge opportunity here to those people onto BitShares, right? Not just using some sort of banking app through an Android phone, but actually getting people interacting with the BitShares network is just clearly a good thing we're very excited about.
And if anybody wants to reach out to you guys after the hangout, or in their own time, how would they go about doing this?
So I'll be dropping out in this chat right away, and then people can just reach out to us whenever they want to, and then we are very excited. We'll be excited to talk to them, share with them more of what we are doing at any point in time. So I'll be sharing the link right away.
Sounds good. Okay, so that is in CESA Discord group. https://discord.gg/3v2a4an. And the V and N are lowercase. The two A's are capitalized. Now, with that said, thank you guys for joining up. Of course, thank you for everybody who is here today, who is participating in these events, but also those of you who are sharing the content, those of you who are actively participating in the initiatives and the endeavors that we have collectively kind of created as a community in Beyond Bitcoin. No, of course, you're more than welcome. Everybody who's doing valuable things, we want you guys to have a voice, because I know that in the rest of crypto, a lot of it is hype for things that really don't have any teeth. And that's why we like to, that a lot of those places that are hyping without any teeth and don't really have anything created, they tend to not really, always bring on people who are doing things and offer those positions to people. And a lot of the time, there's also people who are doers, but just very rarely ask for money or recognition. And the point to this entire thing is to kind of create a community where everybody can have their own hangouts, can do their own things around this community as a theme, as a subject matter for them. And we want to open that up and make it so you guys have a voice, so everybody can have a voice. And also to let you all know, kind of just by showing it, that anybody, if they want to take the time to learn and be part of this, can become a pundit in and of themselves, an expert in their own way, and can learn the value propositions that they uniquely offer. So it's just kind of an exercise that we have in trying to enable people to kind of see the world in a slightly different way and start recognizing that they can be center stage. Now, with that said, you're obviously here to see the people who are joining up on center stage, and the next guest who is going to be on center stage is going to be the Has 159. He is of the Azira project, and I will go ahead and I'll let him, of course, give some introduction, a little bit of an idea of where Azira comes from, how it's working with BitShares, the value proposition there, and any updates that he has. And thank you, of course, to Has for joining up.
Thank you very much, Fuzzy, for continuing to host these fantastic hangouts every week. I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and we've seen some really good projects in this hangout. I think this week has been quite a good week in terms of new developments, really hitting home on where we need to be moving in the BitShares ecosystem. So the project that I'm working on at the moment is the Azira network. So what Azira is, it's a distributed social media and business platform that enables everyone to share information and value freely. So what Azira plans to do is merge the blockchain social media technology that has been pioneered by Steem with the delegated proof-of-stake blockchain that is used by BitShares and Steem, and incorporating a decentralized exchange so that people can create assets to trade within the same blockchain as a social media blockchain. What we then want to do is include an interface and transaction types for people to trade products through a marketplace, through a peer-to-peer marketplace, and have an IPFS file hosting layer that rewards people for hosting all of these media content files on a distributed immutable file system. And recently we've had some major updates in the project. We'll be announcing our latest revision of the Azera project white paper in our Azera Hangout. That's at tomorrow 1 p.m. UTC is the Azera Hangout every Sunday. We'll be announcing the latest edition of the white paper, which has some new changes, including changes to the promoted post mechanism, some changes to the allocation of the Azera crypto equity asset, and some changes to the mechanisms to prevent large-scale bot voting, things that are going to be coming out in the next edition of the white paper. But what we have done in terms of project updates in the last couple of weeks is we now have a working web prototype interface. So people can see, get a feel and an idea for what Azera.io, the website, is going to look like when it does go to a live testnet. And very shortly we will be switching over to a new Steam chain and then developing that iteratively into the Azera testnet blockchain. So we'll be starting from a fork of Steam in a new blockchain, and we'll be building that iteratively into the Azera testnet. So we have the prototype interface operational now at alpha.azera.io, and we also have a BitShares wallet/exchange hosted at exchange.azera.io, so that people can access the Azera crypto equity asset or the user issued asset on the BitShares blockchain directly without having to search for it, because it's included in the market pairs by default. What we've also done, we've switched up some of the market pair orderings in the interface to allow open.steam, or the open ledger backed Steam asset, to be a base pair for people to exchange their BitShares based assets using Steam as a base pair, which I think is a very important move forward between those two chains to allow the Steam asset to be used to directly make trades with BitShares assets and allow people to access those pairs for liquidity. So we have exchange.azera.io and alpha.azera.io, the two new URLs that we have that are hosting our early stage prototypes of what the decentralized exchange and the main interface are going to be looking like before we switch over to the actual Azera testnet chain as it is developed. We'll be developing that live for everyone to see and watch it grow and improve over time. So at the moment we're just referring to the live Steam mainnet, but very soon that'll be moving to the Azera testnet chain that'll be developed and iteratively improved over the course of time as the project develops forward. So we've got one main developer that is now working fairly heavily on building out the prototype interface, and he's going to be working on moving to a new chain very soon. So those are the Azera project updates, and the final one that we have for the BitShares community, which has been invaluable to the success of the Azera project and is a continuing and ongoing partner with the Azera project, is we have redeveloped and redesigned the Azera.io website so that it has a much more clean and intuitive graphical overview. It makes it much more clear what the Azera project is from a user standpoint, from a business standpoint, and from an investor standpoint. We have a wide variety of documentation that is updated on an ongoing basis to help people understand what the Azera project aims to do with the Azera outline in plain English with very little technical language required is the Azera outline. Then we have the Azera white paper for those who are more technically inclined to understand the ins and outs of what the Azera project aims to build. We have the Azera investment thesis that allows potential investors to see the potential upside on their Zero asset and understand where the Zero project aims to obtain revenue as a base layer protocol feature. So unlike a lot of blockchain projects, Zero has built-in revenue streams because we'll be selling membership assets, promoted posts, and charging marketplace and in decentralized exchange trading fees that will be used to buy and burn the Zero coin asset. So it'll have built-in buy and burn mechanisms that enable the holders of the protocol assets to actually earn from the ongoing revenue of the blockchain. So it'll be a true decentralized autonomous corporation when it is live. Thank you, Fuzzy. So that's where the Zero project is at. I haven't been in this hangout to do a chat about Zero for a little while, and the reason behind that is because Zero has its own project hangouts every week at 1 p.m. UTC on Sunday. The next one will be tomorrow, where we'll be announcing the latest edition of the Zero white paper for community review. Just like 2 weeks ago, we released the Zero business and application case for community review, which has now been finalized and spell checked. And we've gone through that as a community, and not 1 in 9,000 of the Zero Telegram members could find a spelling mistake in the Zero business and application case. So we're getting the community review on the documents done quite well. So these things are coming out at a very rapid pace, rapid developments taking place in the project. And we, like the EasyDex team, have for the last 6 or 7 weeks also been leveraging an auction mechanism, or a Dutch auction mechanism, for people to make an acquisition of the Zero asset, which will be share dropped and distributed one-to-one on the Zero mainnet chain when it is released to the live community. So 1 Zero on the BitShares chain will be converted into a balance for each account on the Zero chain. So we will be importing the account names and Zero balances of every BitShares account that holds Zero into the Zero mainnet, so that people will be able to access those Zero funds using their BitShares accounts that they have now. So that pretty much sums up the Zero project updates recently. We've been having weekly auctions that have just recently topped out at approximately 50 cents as the final auction clearing price. As the last week, we've had some increased demand for the Zero asset in the Zero weekly auctions. And we've been seeing some really fantastic community support for the Zero project as an evolutionary partner on the BitShares protocol, to the Steam protocol, and to many other participants in the community. So I'll be taking any and all questions you guys might have about the Zero project and what we've been up to as of late.
Hey Harrison, I was just wondering, does your Zero account name have to be the same as your BitShares account name in order to claim the exchange?
So the answer to that is every BitShares account that holds the Zero asset, those accounts, or more correctly, those public keys, will be imported over to the Zero blockchain. Those keys will be able to be claimed on the Zero blockchain by importing your account onto that chain, similar to the way that accounts were imported from a key generated in the EOS crowd sale onto the main EOS chain using a genesis.json file. So the state of every BitShares account will be replicated onto the Zero mainnet chain in a very similar way to the Peer Plays project did that to a very, very good effect. So once you have claimed the balance of a Zero that you have on your BitShares account, so each account will have the prefix BTS hyphen in front of it, you'll then be able to make a new account with whichever name you so choose.
Alright, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So basically, the takeaway is, if I want to have my BitShares account on the Zero network, hold at least a token in my BitShares account that I want to be given to me on the other chain.
That's correct.
That boils it down, makes it easy, because we nerds like to talk a lot and describe the details and how it works and the history. Yep. And it's a great way of doing it, don't get me wrong, but just wanting to make sure that all the newbies out there understand.
It's very, very simple. Every BitShares account that holds a 0 will get a 0 in the mainnet.
Yeah, newbie friendly. So
there we go.
Something that, of course, people can post to there and make and earn, as well as the other social networks that are growing.
That's right.
So,
so as a mutual aid society or a MAS chain, because it will be using the Graphene and delegated proof of stake code base that's been pioneered by Steem and BitShares, it'll be just the same as a Steem-based blockchain, but with some improved features. So one of the things that we're going to be focusing on improving over the Steem blockchain, enabling accounts to create private posts so that they are only decipherable or decryptable by specific accounts that are connected as friends, for example. So you'll be able to make posts that only your friends will be able to view and open. And the same thing will be true of files. So any files that are included in a private post will also be encrypted before they're uploaded to IPFS.
nice.
So yeah, that's one of the things we'll be improving over the Steem blockchain. In addition to that, we'll be improving over the BitShares blockchain by, at the protocol layer, requiring no fee for maker orders. So when you create an order to put liquidity on the book, the 0 that action will have no transaction fee. So the transactions will be rate limited according to the amount of a 0 power and a 0 that you hold. The same mechanism that Steem rate limits transactions. And transactions that are a maker order will have no fee, and we'll also be working to integrate Bancor asset arrays into the blockchain, so that people will be able to create mixtures of assets that create a smart token to allow asynchronous liquidity between any asset. So to make that very newbie friendly, that sounded a little bit complicated. Basically, you'll be able to make a smart contract where you can put in any coin and get out any coin with no spread. No spread between the prices.
I have a question, if it's okay.
Go ahead and tell the guy.
First of all, I would like to congratulate you on the amount of information you put out on the Azero project. I went digging through your white paper and as much material that you have posted, and it's really well thought out, well presented, more than enough questions are asked. That's never enough for me, because anybody can write a tech document and get away with it, but I've braided you in private with some a bunch, like almost littering a machine gun with you of hard question bullets. And every time you came back,
they were very sharp questions, and I answered them all. I did.
Yeah, that's true, and you did do that, and that's what's got me puzzled, because now I'm like, okay, this sounds good on the inside and out. I want to ask you a hard question right now, because I'm sure that you're used to adjusting for these type of things and having a right answer. When you have
ask me a question that I don't have an answer to, I'll be very happy and surprised. Go ahead.
I want to know, just in brief, why you've started this project. More so, how do you benefit directly as a result of this? Is it because you're the token issuer, and as a result you can issue yourself a whole bunch of tokens later, or how does that work? Because in these type of projects, I like the founders to make money, because if they're very verbose about how they're making money or how that they benefit, it's like, okay, you know what? I can see why he's investing this amount of time and this amount of resources of his life to produce this. Not just because he's like, this is like, oh, I just want to have like a happy place for everybody to enjoy themselves, and I'm just doing this as a selfless act. At some point, you have to make a profit. So how do you make a profit here? And once you disclose that, all of a sudden you become a little bit more trustworthy.
Okay, that's a very good question. I'm happy to answer that. So the way that I personally will be making a profit from the Azero project and the Azero protocol is through a number of ways. Number one, the founders of the Azero blockchain will be getting an allocation, 20% of the Azero crypto asset and that asset will earn an ongoing stream of revenue from all of the membership payments, all the post promotions, all of the fees that are used to buy and burn a Zero coin, because every Zero earns an ongoing percentage of the rewards of the Zero coin issuance. So 20% of all the Zero coin issued is distributed between all of the holders of a Zero asset. So the founders, including myself, will be holding 20% in total of that. The portion that I plan to have allocated to my personal reserve is approximately 1/4 of that amount. So 500,000 is Zero. The personal stake that I'll be holding for a vesting period of about 2 years, after which it will divest over another 2 years. This is described in the white paper. What I also plan to do is, as described in the Zero business and application case, found a large number of independent businesses that operate on the Zero blockchain to both produce content, to produce software, to produce applications, and to produce services that a second layer that will exist on top of the Zero blockchain, including fiat currency gateways, including exchange gateways, movie production companies, music production companies, things that should have been done as companies on Steam but for some reason weren't. Yeah, thank you, Fuzzy. Vesting period is important. That's something that I make very, very crystal clear. Those are Zero in the founder's allocation are vested for at least 2 years, then they divest over another 2 years. It's very critical that those are held in a vesting period to make very clear that this is a long-term project for myself and the other founders. So how the rest of the founding team makes money is they also hold an allocation of the Zero asset, and that asset has a fixed supply with a potential upside revenue stream of a Zero rewards that scale in value with the value of a Zero coin. So unlike the Steam project, we will not be doing a pre-mine of a Zero coin. The coin that is rewarded to the witnesses, miners, and content creators starts from a genesis balance of 0. That coin is not pre-mined. It has a fixed linear issuance of 10 million units per year, and it is bought and burned by everyone purchasing membership, by purchasing post-promotion, with a newly upgraded mechanism that will be released in the next white paper. Supernodes will earn a Zero coin for hosting files, and people will hold vested a Zero coin or a Zero power in order to access an allocation of free IPFS storage that is provided by the supernodes on the network. So yeah, to make it clear, the way that I personally profit from this project, a percentage of the issuance of a Zero, but I will not have any initial percentage of a Zero coin. That is created from a genesis balance of 0, and that'll be free for all, everyone's game, publicly open blockchain on the mainnet from the genesis block. That'll have no pre-mined balance. How the project founders do make money is from the Zero reward, a Zero holder reward allocation of 20% of the Zero coin to the holders of a Zero over time. So it's an ongoing, continual reward for the holders of a Zero who have made the capital investment or the sweat equity investment. So I hope that answers your question, and Teleguy.
It really does. And what I was impressed with is the way you started out is you didn't have to hum and haw. You didn't have a nervous laugh about, well, let me see if I can answer this. Right away, you just gushed forward with a volume of information. This has been well thought out, well planned, and I'm excited for your project.
Okay.
Agreed. And I know we're just, I hate to say it, but we are over by about 5 minutes. And I precursed all of this by saying I don't want to come across as an asshole, but we do have to end this portion.
Yeah, that's fine.
I will say, Harrison, I will close my part by saying I know that I've asked you some tough questions along the way too, and I remember that you have stubbornly continued doing what you're doing and making progress, and I love it. And I will be personally talking to you about maybe leveraging some of the things that we've accomplished that you can leverage too, to maybe help your project along if there's any code that you can use from us. But
Thank you, Fuzzy.
Yeah, of course, that's what we're here for, right? The ultimate goal is to replace and disrupt things like Facebook and give back to the people. So that is really truly what we're here for. And you solve problems that I might not have answers for, and vice versa. And other people, all of us come together for this reason. So you also have something very similar that you're doing on the network now, which I would assume that they can join the Telegram and learn more about those hangouts as well. Correct?
That's correct. So our Hangouts are hosted in the Azera Discord, and what I'll do is I'll pop a link into this chat so people can see the Azera Discord if they're not already a member. But to finalize and let us get into Fox's segment, you could reach the Azera project at www.azera, that's EZIRA.io, and you can see our recently redesigned website and all of the new developments that have been happening in the Azera project. And it's very simple to purchase the Azera asset to get your piece of the Azera project. That's EZIRA, Azera, on the BitShares decentralized exchange, and you can buy that. That's been trading for quite some time now, and it's currently priced at 1 BitUSD per unit for new issuance, and its market price is floating between 60 and 75 cents at this time. So if you'd like to get some before the lower end of it gets bought up and we go back to the $1 issuance, then you can snap those up the BitShares DEX at exchange.azera.io.
Thank you very much, Harrison, and thank you for the great questions. For everybody who participates in these discussions, you all bring your own levels of unique expertise. You all have things that you care about, that you spend all of your time learning about. And for those of you who are here and participating in these discussions, or even those who are sitting on the sidelines, it's great to remind everyone that you all offer something of value. So don't be afraid to speak up and bring questions or comments, or even just saying thank you to the people who are joining up to these Hangouts and discussing the things that they're wanting to build and are building, or the things that they're doing, or anything important that they think needs to be brought up to the community with regard to any of these projects or BitShares in general. Now, with that said, thank you, everybody, for joining up. I'm going to go ahead and move on to Talkinator to talk about two topics that he has brought up today. Talkinator, are you available to step up to the Okay, it seems like Talkinator has stepped out, so I'm just going to step up for him if that's okay with everybody else, unless somebody else wants to step up. Maybe I should ask if anybody else wants to step up. No problem. Okay, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'll go over it real quick, and then Talkinator, if you fix your mic in the period of time that we are discussing this, you're more than welcome to just butt right in and go hot on the mic and flow with your rap. Okay, sounds good. All right, so the BitShares spokesperson report is the first. It is says here, legal opinion letter on May 18th, 2018, the legal counsel hired by the BBF, BitShares Blockchain Foundation, Paul Hastings, sent a legal opinion letter about BitShares to Bittrex, OKCoin, and Binance. In quotations here, it says, this is, I'm assuming, from an excerpt from the letter. It has always been the intention to make this document public. Our lawyers strongly advise against that at this point. Oh, never mind. So in the meantime, anyone may view by appointment at the BBF office or at BitFest in Amsterdam, September 21st through 23rd, 2018. It says here, Accounting for worker proposals through the foundation may also be found online. So I'm assuming that. Oh, was that talking?
Oh, hello. Can you hear me now?
Perfectly.
Oh, great. So I'll let you finish what you were saying.
No, I was just going to say that I'm assuming. So you feel free to fill in anything that might not be an assumption.
So from what I heard, you did a recap of what I had posted there. I thought the most interesting part was about the legal opinion letter, which has gone out to 3 exchanges, BitShares, OKCoin, and Binance. And I think you mentioned that. And just to, it's not currently public because it's still apparently going back and forth between the council. But if anybody wishes to see a copy of this letter, apparently it is available to be, at this time, it apparently is available to be seen in person, either at their office or also in the upcoming Graphene conference in Amsterdam. And with the idea being that after discussions have concluded with the council of the 3 exchanges, then this opinion letter should be open and public, available, easily available for anybody.
Reason that it's not public now?
The stated reason was that this is still being, for 2 reasons. It's still being discussed with the other councils and of the exchanges, and they may seek clarifications or corrections to what is in this, let's call it version 1 of the letter. And BBF said, BBF said that their counsel said, Paul Hastings, that they did not want to have a version 1 letter, a non-final version of the letter, out and about. That's what they said. So
I'm just trying to understand why. That's the key thing, because keeping this secret, I don't understand how that helps anybody, frankly.
it's a fair question, and I think the issue is that since this is not yet, let's say, agreed upon or accepted by the Council of the Exchanges, I think the concern is the following. Here's one hypothetical scenario. This version 1, this version 1 is released and out in the public. And let's say people who are not a part of the councils, they start saying, oh, here is the opinion letter of what is, let's say, what is a market pegged asset. Here is an opinion letter that says what is the BTS core token. And in the meantime, if Paul Hastings and the council of the other exchanges go about and determine some other definition, let's say in a version 2, and that is finally what's agreed upon, I think the concern is that there would be different people debating about, well, what is the definition? Is it the version 2 definition or is it the version 1 definition? So that's my impression of what they're concerned about avoiding.
Okay, fair enough. There's some sense to that. I can understand.
Yeah, it makes sense to me too. I would like to see what they're saying right now, because I've never thought of BitShares as anything but essentially a utility token, since you essentially pay fees in it to accomplish certain things. That kind of is the definition of a utility token to my knowledge. Maybe it comes from the AGS days, which stems from 50% of tokens were share dropped on proto shares, which was mined. The other 50% to a group of people who essentially donated in a Dutch auction, kind of like EOS, for AGS, which were non-tradable kind of ledger entries, saying that you participated in it. And the other 50% of BitShares was given there. I'd be very interested to see where that plays in. The definitions of smart assets. Pegged assets is going to be a very interesting one. I hope to see that that they're going in a direction where they're not considered like a highly regulated asset. But then again, some people might argue that a highly regulated asset like that is going to make it easier for mass adoption. Maybe that's the idealist in me that doesn't want that, and I'm wrong. But we'll see, I guess, where they stand when this stuff comes out. Does anybody else have any opinions on this? Obviously, I can talk about it.
I agree with you that once definitions are out there and accepted, it will help or possibly hinder future involvement, as some people might just stay away from certain things depending on the definitions.
Yeah. Okay, well, there are also, like you said, there are going to be 3 other speaking engagements. I'm assuming that people can see the document there as well.
Yeah, that's right. 2 were in the past. 2 already occurred. One was in London, one was in Shanghai, and then the third one is, yeah, I guess it's also in the past.
Oh, yeah, it is in the past now, aren't they? Okay, well, that's okay. Okay, so then you have another topic, is that correct?
Yeah, thank you. This is about the Open Ledger reimbursement program. For those who are unaware, approximately 2 weeks ago, for 3 days, the web wallet by Open Ledger, which accesses the underlying BitShares blockchain, actually suffered, depending on how you want to define things, a phishing attack. And so those people who were accessing the web wallet interface during that time may have had their assets lost. So in order to address that, Open Ledger has announced a reimbursement program that those who believe that they have suffered from this phishing attack can register themselves and provide some evidence about what they believe has occurred. Then Open Ledger will review it, and if they agree with that assessment, that they will reimburse those who have lost assets because of this phishing attack. And more details about it. I believe the main issue is that if you're interested, you have to register a ticket with Open Ledger by June 22nd. And there you can find more details.
I'm really glad to see that they've come out and done this. There was a lot of posts on Telegram by Ronnie and others that didn't really give a very good perception to the public about how they were handling it. And this really is going a long ways to remedy that situation. But I think there's been some technical shortcomings that have been surfaced as a result of this, and I hope Ronnie has learned his lesson about managing that better in the future.
Yep. I think one positive thing about this incident was highlighted what they were doing while they were gaining control again while they were attempting to regain control of the domain. That they were able to utilize certain features within the BitShares blockchain, which allows them to essentially lock down certain assets and certain accounts. So in order to kind of protect the users, protect themselves. So that was one positive aspect of the event.
Yeah, that's something that really deserves a lot more attention. That's a facility of BitShares that is perfect for exchanges and gateways like Open Ledger to utilize to curtail and to limit problems when they're detected. But you have to be proactive as well. I mean, it's one thing to have those facilities. It's another to have people that are monitoring and are proactive quickly to be able to use those facilities to protect the public. And in terms of advanced knowledge, this something that another important thing that has come to light is that this could have been prevented if there was a little bit more care in the earlier stages of putting the Open Ledger thing online. So there's plenty of lessons to be learned by everybody here, I think.
Well, one of the things that I cannot allow to escape anybody who's walking away from this Hangout today is that even though that did happen, it happened on a blockchain where it's easily traceable. You can track what happened. You can see what happened right there. You can see the accounts that were affected, when they were affected, and all that kind of stuff. It's relatively it's generally there. A lot of the information you're going to need. So it's still, I know it's not perfect, but in addition to even those features that allow you to kind of lock it down on the blockchain level, it even is more transparent than other options, right? The other centralized exchanges. So the simple fact that BitShares is going to be backing all these different exchanges that are coming online, I think it's something important to recognize that all of this stuff is out in the open, and the onus is more on the people who you're giving this power to, right? And it's more auditable on their side. So it's something very important for us those of us who care about freedom and giving back the power to the people where it should originate from, where it originates from, right? Now, with that said, does anybody else have anything that they'd like to bring up on this topic before we close out for the day?
One just brief comment that the Zencash network underwent a 51% attack within the last couple of weeks as well. So there's more people out there that are trying to attack and invade other projects. And they also had a very proactive response that curtailed and limited the effect of that attack. So there's some really great projects out there that have proactive teams that are really paying attention and on top of their game, and I just want to commend everybody that's in the game, that's really paying attention and helping to raise awareness of problems when they occur, and then help to resolve them when they occur in a timely manner.
Agreed 100%. I mean, it's an active community that is working in a decentralized fashion around the world, the longest blockchain in the world. And this community has continually brought value to this chain and continued to support it in the ways that we can. Like you said, it's kind of a dynamic relationship between the community and the technology. So it's a great thing to see. It's been a great journey, and I'm glad that all of you guys have been able to be part of it, and that I've been able to be part of it with all of you. So
this also goes to the what Stan was. Stan had excuse me. Stan had brought up a self-policing action last year or earlier, and this goes to that same topic that this community doesn't need to be regulated because we can police ourselves to a large degree, and these are very good examples that show that.
Great point. We can do that. I think the tools, obviously we need more and more tools, and more tools are coming. And it's largely because of the nerds who come here. So thank you to all of you. Thank you to all of you who support the things that we're doing. Thank you, Talkinator. Is there anything that you would like to say before we close out, Talk?
No, thanks very much.
Well, thank you for bringing the topics, as always. I just want to, you guys don't hear me generally ask to or tell people about various things that are going on in terms of buying into things or donating tokens, however you want to call it. But there is a project that is called Project Milkbox, and we are working in the direction of creating a chain where people can essentially post bounties for missing loved ones using the tokens on the chain, and they can stake them and can use that stake to reward journalistic endeavors to try to research that missing person or anything that is important in this kind of general category. And of course, it's not just for missing persons, it's also for missing animals and things like that as well. But one of the things that I do want to just let everybody know about, the crew of people who are working on it are very good people. They have great hearts. They're working very hard on it. with my help, of course, but not, it takes far more than me, and I'm doing multiple projects, so they have a community who helps them. But what I would urge all of you guys to do, if you guys are interested in leveraging any resources or value propositions you have, I'd like to give you guys the link to the Milkbox Discord, and whether you guys want to participate in the EOS style ICO that crowdfunder that they're just starting, or if you guys want to, participate in some way, shape, or form, leveraging something else of value that you have, some unique skill of some sort, or anything that in this realm, I want to urge you guys to reach out and participate if you can. This is something I think that we should all be considering doing. It's, of all the different projects that I know of in the space, it's one of the ones that I think will help a lot of people in a way that really is hard to explain. The human trafficking industry, for instance, every year makes more than arms deals make. So in terms of industries, human trafficking actually makes more than deals in arms for warfare, which is a pretty big deal, right? And that's not all. It's not just people who are human trafficking and all that stuff. It's also people who are missing, who have run away, or might have issues that they need people around them. A lot of the time this happens to younger kids who are growing up, going through the time in their life when they're still developing, and hormonal issues and all the things that go along with being a teenager who's growing into being an adult. And a lot of the time those children will end up leaving and running away from home and things like this. So it's just something that, we obviously, everything isn't, we could probably profit from Milkbox quite a bit, but one of the main goals for it is to make it so we can profit it in a way to help to reward people who participate in the endeavor of seeking and searching out and helping those who are looking for lost loved ones. And I felt like a mutual aid society chain is probably about as good as it would get for something like this. And I also have some pretty big names in the truther ecosystem, like Craig Sawyer and an SGT report, who are very interested in it. This is going to be another EOS style campaign on BitShares, not on Ethereum like EOS did. And they are going to be building this, and they have been building a lot of these things. And we're getting to the point where the mutual aid society chains are going to be a little bit easier to build on. So I see a lot of good things coming, and I would urge you guys all, if you guys have an interest in this subject and helping people who are searching for missing people, this might be something worth donating toward and getting some tokens in, maybe even helping people who you may know who have lost somebody that they love. So I obviously don't promote these types of things very often, but it is something that I would urge you guys to consider. It's something that I very much love, and it's very close to my heart. And I hope that you guys will all consider any value propositions you can add to that project, because I think there are a lot of missing people out there who have a lot of loved ones who would probably do just about anything to get them back. I know how I would feel if I lost a loved one. So just another place where we can do really good things, I think, and also start rewarding the givers who otherwise would never even ask for money for it. But if we can pay those givers, maybe they can do it full time instead of doing it as a hobby. Now, with that said, thank you guys, everybody, for making this possible. I'm glad to see that all these EOS-style campaigns and AGS-style campaigns are being run on BitShares much more easily than on Ethereum. I'm glad to see that this is so easy for people to get into, to trade them on a decentralized exchange, and that we have all been able to be part of this. So with that said, we're in a great place, everybody. Keep moving forward. Thank you for all the help. Thank you for working your butts off, and thank you for recognizing that you sometimes should come out and be recognized for the things that you're doing. Well, with that said, we will see you next week. We will also have, of course, an EOS talk tonight. You can join us then at 8 p.m. Eastern, and I will see you guys then. And I guess it's time for the after.